Deep Space Sanctuary 7's healing ward glowed with cold, white light. Machines breathed in perfect cycles, emotionless and steady. Every sound was controlled until the sound that didn't belong arrived, a thin, broken cry. Not pain, grief, everyone in the ward understood what that sound meant. On Sanctuary 7, you didn't hear dying, you heard systems failing. This cry was different. Inside a transparent containment chamber, a tiny cordub cub lay curled into herself like she was trying to disappear. Her cobalt skin had faded to a dull, lifeless blue. Her delicate limbs trembled as if breathing had become heavy work. Her name was Saleya, 2 cycles old. Last of her colony, the rescue team had found her alone beneath collapsed homes, surrounded by silence where thousands had lived. She had no burns, no cuts, no fractures. The scanners showed nothing to fix, and yet she was dying. Outside the chamber stood a tight circle of specialists, xenobiologists, engineers, neuroresonance experts. Their displays told the same cruel story. Vital systems failing, one by one. Dr. Yarrow, chief xenobiologist, tapped the air screen hard enough to make it wobble. No trauma, no infection. But the shutdown is spreading. A resonance engineer adjusted a field projector. We can simulate communal presence. Koryab juveniles are bonded at birth. They expect the group. They tried the field. Light shimmered like invisible water. The chamber warmed. A synthetic chorus filled the air in frequencies no human ear could hear. Saleya didn't move. They tried medication. Calming pheromones, even holograms of adult Koryab shapes. The cub's cries only grew weaker, turning from sound into a fading whisper. One monitor slipped from green to yellow. Then another. Dr. Yarrow's translator clicked softly as she spoke the words everyone feared. She has less than an hour. The ward doors hissed open. No. The voice was human. A man in grease-stained utility coveralls stood in the doorway, frozen like he'd walked into a funeral by mistake. His badge read Evan E. Cross Station. Maintenance. He wasn't a medic. He wasn't enhanced. Most species still called humans primitive, and they thought humans couldn't hear. Evan lifted his hands in a harmless spread. I heard her. I want to try something. A specialist scoffed. Your species lacks resonance organs. You cannot bond with a Koryab. Dr. Yarrow's eyes were sharp. This is biology, not emotion. Evan swallowed, but he didn't step back. Biology responds to signals, he said. Rhythm, presence, heat, patterns, please. Just give me time. Silence stretched. Saleya's cry thinned again, like a thread about to snap. Dr. Yarrow exhaled, defeated by the clock. 30 minutes. If her distress rises, you're removed. Evan nodded once and walked toward the chamber. The seal closed behind him with a final, heavy sound. Inside, the air felt too clean, too empty. Ice. Saleya lay curled, eyes half open, staring at nothing. Her limbs twitched with the weak reflex of surrender. Evan didn't rush her. He sat against the far wall where she could see. Him without feeling trapped? He took a slow breath, then another, letting the sound carry. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, outdated device. A personal music player, old enough to feel ridiculous in a room full of alien miracles. He pressed play. A soft melody filled the chamber. Simple, repetitive, gentle. Evan began to hum along. It was a lullaby his mother had used when storms cut the lights and fear filled the house. The song had only one message. You are not alone. Saleya's ear twitched. Evan kept humming, steady as a metronome. His fingers tapped lightly on the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, then again. Minutes passed. The cub's trembling slowed by a fraction, breathing still shallow, began to match his rhythm. Outside the glass, the specialists leaned closer. Stress. Markers are dropping, someone whispered. Dr. Yarrow frowned. Hold the readings. don't guess. Inside, Evan lowered one hand to the floor between them, palm open, not reaching, not demanding, just offering a warm, patient shape. Saleya lifted her head. Her eyes found him dull, exhausted, but aware. Then the ward changed its mind. A warning tone sounded. The containment AI spoke in calm, deadly words. Koryeb juvenile, entering terminal shutdown. Outside, alarms flashed red. Neural activity. Collapsing, an engineer snapped, "Remove him." Dr. Yarrow's claws hovered over the override. Her face tightened. If she spikes inside, Evan heard the tone and felt the moment tilt toward the edge. He stood, then stopped himself. Quick movement could be a threat, so he changed the only thing he controlled, the rhythm. He made his humming lower, closer. To a heartbeat, he tapped slower, heavier, thump, thump, thump. And he lay down on the floor, turning sideways to look smaller. He pulled off one glove and placed his bare hand down again, closer than before. "Hey," he whispered. "I'm here. I'm staying." Saleya stared, trembling. Fear flickered across her face, then something else, curiosity maybe. Or the last spark of hope her body hadn't crushed yet. Inch by inch, she crawled forward. Her paw touched his fingers. Evan didn't grab. He didn't even breathe too fast. He just stayed warm and steady. Saleya pressed again, harder, as if checking whether he would vanish like a hologram. When he didn't, she climbed into his lap with desperate clumsiness and buried her face against his chest. Her body was cold, too. Cold. Evan wrapped both arms around her and let her feel his heart beat through fabric and bone. He kept the rhythm. With his thumb against her back, thump, thump. Saleya's skin began to glow. Not a flare and unfolding. Bioluminescence spilled across her cobalt body in soft waves, brightening the chamber with living light. Her trembling eased. Her breathing deepened. Outside, the alarms faltered. Vitals stabilizing, the engineer whispered, voice cracking. Cardiac rhythm synchronizing. Dr. Yarrow stared at the numbers as if they were a betrayal. That shouldn't work. It has no resonance. A senior observer, old enough to have watched wars begin and end, spoke quietly behind them.
Humas.
May lack resonance organs, he said, but they possess something the machines don't measure. Dr. Yarrow didn't look away from the screen. What? The observer's gaze stayed on Evan through the glass. Choice. Inside, Evan leaned back against the wall, eyes half closed, still humming. Saleya's glow warmed his arms. Her paw clutched his shirt like it was the only solid thing left in the universe. The containment AI announced. Terminal shutdown reversed. Recovery state confirmed. Saleya slept. Dr. Yarrow's shoulders lowered in slow disbelief. She didn't need a chorus, she murmured. She needed someone who wouldn't leave. The observer nodded. That is what humans do. They stay. When staying is expensive. When the chamber finally opened, Evan didn't rush out. He looked down at the glowing cub and whispered, "You're safe. I've got you." Saleya's paw tightened even in sleep. A dying cub had made a choice. She chose life, and the sanctuary learned a new rule. One no algorithm had written, humans do not need pack bonds to know how to love. They only need someone who needs loving, and they never give up on the lost ones.